May I begin? Welcome. Wait, I'll do this again. Are you ready, Laurie? Good morning and welcome to the Sunday service. I think we have a guest, I'm not sure. But if we do have a guest, we're an open and inclusive congregation. As you use, our members walk diverse paths to find meaning and purpose. We're united in our belief of the inherent worth and dignity of all, and by the responsibility to express our faith through acts of justice and compassion. My name is Harvey. I've been an active member of the congregation since 2018. I'm a past president and attend all the board meetings as a non-voting member. But that privilege doesn't only extend to me. Any of you who want to attend the board meeting can. It's in the bylaws. This is our last virtual service. Next week, we go live. We meet at the Friends Meeting House in Davidson at 3 o'clock. We have to thank Autumn, of course, for making these Zoom services possible. There I am. For making the Zoom purposes possible, and for also making the service next week recordable. Thank you, Autumn. Our speaker today is Laurie Walker. She inspires us to center ourselves and to get in touch with our inner selves so we can gain strength and authenticity as we work with the world or as we relate to the world. Today's chalice lighting, I think Jim already lighted the chalice. Did you show it to us, Jim? Where's Jim? It's there, okay. I'm going to take the chalice lighting this month from Hannah Senich. She was a hero of the Holocaust. And I think that these words have some relevance for the situation now in Ukraine. Blessed is the match consumed in kindling flame. Blessed is the flame that burns in the heart in secret places. Blessed is the heart with strength to stop its beating for honor's sake. Blessed is the match consumed in kindling flame. Behold our joys and sorrows until we go live after the service. But we do have a story from all ages. Don't we, Laurie? Yes, we do. And Laurie will read the story for all ages. Laurie, it's all yours.
All right, thank you. So today we're going to talk about peace. Can you guys see this book all right? Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you for the thumbs up. This is called I Am Peace, a book of mindfulness. And it was a gift to me from a good friend because they know I love well-written, beautifully illustrated children's books. So here we go. I'll show the picture first and then read. There are times when I worry about what might happen next and what happened before. The thoughts in my head are like rushing water. I feel like a boat with no anchor. being carried away. My book's falling apart here. I give myself a moment and I take a breath. And then I tell myself, it's all right. I feel the ground beneath my feet and I steady myself. And I start to notice the here and the now. It's like looking outside and maybe hearing the birds sing today. My thoughts begin to settle and my mind begins to clear. I am peace. I can watch my worries gently pop up and then disappear. And I could feel inside out loud. And I know myself. I could share kindness with others. I make a difference. I like this illustration. You see the plant starting to grow into a tree. I can hug a tree and thank you for its beauty and strength. I connect to nature. I know we have a few tree huggers in here. I can watch the clouds make shapes against the sky. I know wonder. We even have people who paint clouds, right? A person, Regina. I can taste and smell and touch and hear and see what is all around me. I use my senses. I can feel my breath fill my whole body and tune in to me. Now the water is still. I have found my anchor, taking a breath and letting it go, connecting to nature. I don't need to worry about before or after. I am in this moment. I am peace. Now I share my peace with others and hope that it is carried away to those who need it. And I dream we are peace. The end.
Thank you, Laurie. That was very nice, very you, and very fitting with the message today, I'm sure. Now you're going to do the song now.
Now, Mike's got his guitar.
Yes.
So Mike's going to play for us.
So we have a dual threat.
Yes.
For dual enjoyment. Go.
Okay, can you hear me all right? All right. Harvey, you're muted.
It's funny how they catch up with you. They always mute you just when you're not looking. Stop that, Autumn. Laurie's going to talk on 1,000 ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Do you want me to give more of an introduction, or do you want to go from there?
That's fine. That's fine. All right. So let us begin. This talk I'm going to give today was inspired by a Rumi quote, and this is the quote. There are 1,000 ways to kneel and kiss the ground. There are 1,000 ways to go home again. And it makes me think about that you, him, to question is truly the answer. I probably don't have the title exactly right. But in our UU tradition, we already know that there's many ways to pray. And we find truths everywhere. And right now, across the world, Christians are celebrating Lent. And this is a special time. Now is the time to take special care of our spirits. I mean, you cannot turn on the news right now without feeling helpless. We've been through 2 years of the global pandemic, and now our hearts are truly tugged, by the people of Ukraine as we witness their struggles. So I'm going to start this talk with a breathing blessing. It's called a breathing blessing. And this was written by Jan Richardson, but it's interactive. That's why I like it. So just kind of as we would do when we're settling in for a meditation, take a breath, let it go, and either close your eyes or maybe bring them to a soft gaze, look downward, whatever works for you. So here we go. That the first breath, you could take a breath, let it go if you want, will come without fear. That the second breath will come without pain. The third breath, that it will come without despair. And the fourth, without anxiety. That the fifth breath will come with no bitterness. That the sixth breath will come for joy. Breath 7, that it will come for love. May the 8th breath come for freedom. And the 9th for delight. When the 10th breath comes, may it be for us to breathe together. And the next, and the next, and the next. Until our breathing is as one, until our breathing is no more. So I always love this chant, Dona nobis pacem. It's called Grant Us Peace. And I'm sure many of you have heard this at some point in your lives. And we're all muted, so Let's give it a whirl if you'd like to sing with me. And I'll just start off. We'll just sing a couple of rounds. Dona nobis pacem pacem. Dona nobis pacem. Dona nobis pacem pacem. Dona nobis pacem. Dona nobis pacem pacem. Dona nobis pacem. So grant us peace. So, as I said, it's helpless. It's a helpless feeling to hear the news. I got the newspaper out of the box this morning, and on the front it said, "We are witnessing the largest mass exodus of Europeans since World War II." This week, on March 2nd, began the Lenten season for Christians, which lasts 40 days. What would be an appropriate way for us UUs to stand with our brothers and Christians for peace? The answer, of course, is going to be different for us all. The editor of UU World suggests looking at the ideas that were presented by 3 UUs. And this has been a couple of years ago. And here's their names. I got to stretch out my screen a little bit here. Mr. Barbgrev, Karen Bellavance Grace, and Alex Capitan. So a few years ago, they put together a simple spiritual practice for UUs to try during Lent by focusing on a word of reflection for each day. And you know that many religions and philosophies observe periods of contemplation and reflection. Yom Kippur, known as the Day of Atonement, is observed by the Jewish religion. Ramadan by our Muslim brothers and sisters. And Ramadan is considered the holiest month of the Islamic calendar, a time for heightened spirituality when Muslims offer extra prayers and devotion. Well, today, I'd like to invite you to consider a beginning of a 40 days of daily observance of peace for ourselves and for the Ukraine. So we could stand with our brothers and sisters, our Christian brothers and sisters, as they observe the season of Lent. As we know, there are many ways to pray. And I found this kind of delightful poem by Naomi Shihab Nye. She's an Arab American poet. And this poem is called Different Ways to Pray. There was a method of kneeling, a fine method if you lived in a country where stones were smooth. The women dreamed wistfully of bleached courtyards, hidden corners where knee fit rock. Their prayers were weathered rib bones, small calcium words uttered in sequence, as if the shedding of syllables could somehow fuse them to the sky. There were men who had been shepherds so long they walked like sheep. Under the olive trees, they raised their arms. Hear us, we have pain on earth. We have so much pain that there is no place to store it. But the olives bobbed peacefully in fragrant buckets of vinegar and thyme. At night, the men ate heartily flat bread and white cheese and were happy in spite of the pain, because there was also happiness. Some prized the pilgrimage, wrapping themselves in new white linen to ride buses across miles of vacant sand. When they arrived at Mecca, they would circle the holy places on foot many times. They would bend to kiss the earth and return, their lean faces housing mystery. While for certain cousins and grandmothers, the pilgrimage occurred daily, lugging water from the spring of balancing baskets of grapes. They were the ones present at births, humming quietly to perspiring mothers, the ones stitching intricate needlework into children's dresses, forgetting how easily children soil clothes. And there were those who didn't care about praying, the young ones, the ones who had been to America. They told the old ones, "You're wasting your time." Time. The old ones prayed for the young ones. They prayed for Allah to mend their brains, for the twig, the round moon, to speak suddenly in a commanding tone. And occasionally, there would be one who did none of this. The old man Fauzi, for example. Fauzi the fool, who beat everyone at dominoes, insisted he spoke with God as he spoke with goats, and was famous for his laugh. And that came from Naomi Shihab Nye's book, Different Ways to Pray. So when Thich Nhat Hanh, that gentle, humble monk that you use love, global spiritual leader, poet, peace activist, when he was confronted by the war in Vietnam, he decided not to just stay in the monastery and pray. He did both his prayer and action. He stilled himself in meditation, and then he put his peace into action. And there's a good quote from Thich Nhat Hanh. He said, "If we want peace, we have to practice being peaceful. Peace is a practice. It's not a hope. If you do not know how to handle the fear, the anger, and the despair in you, you are lost. You cannot help other people." If I could sum up my whole talk today, it would be right there. Peace is a practice. It's not a hope. If you don't know how to handle the fear, the anger, and the despair in you, you can feel lost and you can't help other people. So this period of reflection that I'm offering today, or inviting you to, is so that we can take time to think clearly and to offer the best of ourselves to the world, to our families, to those that we care about. We have these traditions that we can stand on, those traditions of Lent, of Yom Kippur, of Ramadan. And these traditions of personal journeys can be rich when we take time to find the spark of divinity in yourself, in each of us. So then we can let our lights shine. And guess what song we're going to sing? This Little Light of Mine. So nobody cares how you sing, so sing out. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. One more time. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. So let's take this journey together. We'll offer love for a world that so desperately needs it. And each day I will put forward a word for your intentional reflection and an image you can carry with you during the day, along with a meditation or a poem or something from various traditions, where you could create a time and space, just a few minutes in each day to breathe deeply. So if you'd like to join me on this journey, I'll put my email, my personal email, in the chat box. And our vibrations of peace will be sent in hopes that they complement all the efforts of good people working for peace across the world. May it be so. So Harvey, I turn it back over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Laurie. Thank you for your words and for your spirit. We're grateful for the contributions so many of you make to this small fellowship. They allow us to sustain and grow our congregation and confirm our commitment to the larger community. You'll find our mailing address in the website, the Facebook page, and the newsletters. Dig in. And if you don't want to dig in today, you can dig in next Sunday when we're going to meet in person. That's right, in person, hooray. We're going to meet in person at the Friends Meeting House in Davidson at 3:00. And we're going to be greeted by a fantastic speaker that week, our own Pat Joad. He will talk about, appropriately, widening the circle of our lives. Saw an announcement in the newsletter about the auction. What inspired us to want a fundraiser was the fact that we were projecting a deficit this year. So not only are we projecting a deficit, but we're not putting any money in to get our own permanent home in the future, in the long-term future. But if we don't start now, it'll never happen. We're a very small congregation. We're not going to have a large number of gifts because we're so small. And people will be asked to come and bid and also contribute. So what we're going to try to do with this event is to make it a fun kind of event. So we'll want to come to widen our circle, to be with each other, and to enjoy our time with each other. It'll probably be Saturday evening. It'll probably be at the in Bailey's Glen at the club room that you've all been to before. If we can't pull off a auction, we still will figure out some kind of fun fundraiser for all of us. I actually want to thank Jim and Gail, for pointing out that there might be some logistical difficulties in this, but it doesn't mean we won't have a fundraiser. So those of you who volunteer may take part in the auction or might be planning for another event that'll help us raise the money we need for a future. So go back to the newsletter. Please volunteer, even if you're going to be in our first discussion about how we're going to pull this off and what it's going to be. So thank you much for volunteering. You'll find the where to volunteer in our newsletter. It'll be on my telephone number or on my email address. Without volunteers, we won't make it happen. With volunteers, we'll continue to be the sensational congregation we are. Okay. Do you have closing words, Laurie? Unmute. Did you hear me?
Okay, here I am. I did have a way too long closing, so I'm going to shorten it up. and just say that, again, I invite you to join me. We have already 160 people who are in this daily Pause for Peace group. So I started it on March the 2nd. And again, it's going to follow the timeline of Lent. And yeah, please join me, and who knows what will come up for us in our own lives. And I hope that these little pauses bring some comfort to you. Okay, so go in peace and love. Namaste.
Now, we're going to extinguish the chalice. This is going to be from the Passover Haggadah. May the light we now kindle, we now unkindle, inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, and to serve you, Spirit of freedom. Find your inner light and go out and conquer the world. So those of you who want to remain, we're going to unmute, have our